Hello, here we are again, Quarantine Talks episode 11. Hello, Thomas.
Hello, finally, I missed yesterday, but we
Yeah,
were
we
we
took
had a long weekend.
we took a long weekend yesterday, but today we are back with a very interesting topic. And the topic is as simple as play.
Oh, excellent, love it.
Yeah, we're not gonna play now, but my first question to you, well, maybe we are actually. My first question to you would be, or is, now play is a very broad term, right? I mean, you can basically put it in every context. My first question is, which associations come up in your mind when you hear the word play?
I immediately think of the two of us running through the forest when we were 9 years old or something, pretending
Oh yeah, exactly.
it's a skiing track and up and down and up and down and no stop. And that's an association I have. But also, like, that wasn't the only thing. We created our games everywhere. We played nonstop, and we learned a lot through that. But we enjoyed it. The time, yeah. I mean, we spent so much time just playing. But at the same time, I don't think there's a thing as just playing. I think there's always some learning in it. There's always an experience in it, and I think especially this experience makes it so special. And sometimes I see that when we get old, when we become adults, we lose that, and we are trying to change that a bit, because we also took it, and that's maybe my next association. We took these learning arenas into our work, and also work with professionals now, with grown-ups, with serious business people, and we play with them, and it's every time a beautiful surprise, the effect about that. But what do you think about it? Today I thought I'm going to challenge you a bit, but it's not only me.
Great.
But what do you think about it?
Great. What do I think? My first associations, seeing us keep jumping in my garden, of course without snow, but landing in the mud, like sliding down. That's one thing. No, but to be serious, for me, play means a lot, or does have to do a lot with being in the moment, mindfulness, presence, losing time a little bit, and also kind of showing a lot of your personalities. It's kind of a personality striptease in a way, because you can't hide yourself once you play, because your personality just lays down on the table naked. Yeah, not in every game, but in a lot of games. And that's just because you don't think so much of how you behave. You just do, and you just play. So in good games, usually that happens, and I think that's a wonderful thing. So for me, it's a coping mechanism. It has to do a lot with time, and I think it's very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Second question, Thomas. Now we do a lot of team development sessions, also with leaders in leadership teams, management teams, and of course, a lot of times people come up, especially in the beginning, and sometimes they tell us, sometimes we feel it, that they are not really into playing, and they say, well, playing, I mean, this is for kids, we are serious businessmen, and I mean, I would prefer doing my emails in the office than rather play here in this team development session. Now, what do you say to those people if they address you with this kind of thought?
It's very funny, because you said most of the times. I would have said we have that every time, because it's always at least one person or two who don't want to play, and usually it's because of what you've just mentioned before, that when we get older, we get aware of how we're being perceived, or we think so. So we have a little bit more shame. We have a lot more restrictions. We're holding back. We're very aware. There's this typical introvert-extrovert discussion. Are we introvert? Are we extrovert? And so on. I would say this doesn't matter, because in a playing arena, I would just tell them to let go, and just really, like, come, basically, yeah, try out the arena. Because, just to give an example with what we like to play, these water paddles that the kids like to jump in, right? We use this metaphor a lot, where usually the reaction is like, oh my God, please don't jump in. I just changed you.
Don't do it.
You get wet again, right?
Yeah.
Challenge everybody to jump in with the kid and see what happens. And I'm not going to say what happens. I know what happens. You have tried it. I know. And it's every time a person we ask, they say the same thing. So try it out and see what happens. And that's it, in a way, what I would tell the people, the serious people who don't want to play or are very reluctant to do so, because ultimately I haven't met anybody who doesn't want to play. They might associate things from their past with a game, right? When they lost a game or when they didn't feel comfortable in it. But once you let go, what we often see in these team development processes, what people remember when you ask them months later is not the cognitive work, like, oh yeah, we did something serious that is always requested and we need to get results. That's not what they remember. They remember the fun. They remember the experience. They remember the joy and this time that they played. That's what they remember. And that's what we use as a learning arena. So I think that's what I would tell them. Just try it out and see what happens.
That's right, because, sorry?
What would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, before I say what I tell them, it's very interesting because it's also, we remember those childhood experiences. I mean, they are 30, 35 years ago, they happened, but still it feels like it was yesterday, you know, because it was a play, it was fun, we were losing time, and those things. What would I tell them? I think it's very important not to force them into playing. Because I also experienced it in team development sessions or in seminars I attended to, that I have this picture of a wall, and it takes some efforts to get over those bricks or over those walls in order to be free and in order to let play in a way. So I think it's not a good way to force them. I think to invite them is a very good word you can also use. And a lot of times I think it's maybe not fear, but it's this unsecureness, this unsafeness a little bit, because you don't really know what happens in the game, you know. And we human beings, we are afraid of things. We don't know exactly how they turn out or what's going to happen. That makes us afraid a little bit, or unsecure, and of course this gives us a little bit of a defense mechanism. So maybe I also would not really address, but try to get rid of this unsafeness, not really by telling them what happens, but to tell them everything that happens is okay, and maybe we'll stay in the room or we'll stay in the team, you know, and just try it out. And yeah, that's basically what I would tell them.
A lot of psychological safety.
Yeah, exactly. It's very important, I think, when it comes to play. As a last question, Thomas, I'm not gonna ask you about tips now because we hear so many tips out there, but I rather ask you again a very provocative question, maybe. Is it for teams enough to only play?
No, it's not enough, and that's the reason why we use play just punctual in our team development process. I think it's a kickstart, can be a kickstart, it can be a stimulating factor, it can simply be an arena to take the team out of their everyday work into something else where they can try it, they can learn about each other, they discover new things, dynamics, can be creative. You know, we often experience that teams try to break the rules that we put in, and that's nothing else than thinking outside the box. So this is an arena, and then all that counts is to take the learnings back into real life, into the everyday work, concrete takeaways, concrete things that worked, concrete things that didn't work. So a lot of reflection is needed, a lot of learning, and really transferring what we've experienced there into everyday. And that's why we use not only one arena also, but there might be milestones, and we use different learning arenas and different playful arenas to combine play and serious. You know, that's why it's called serious play. So I think it's not enough. I think it would be, we need more than just play.
Speaking of that, I have an idea for tomorrow.
Okay.
We're talking about playing today. How about talking about learn tomorrow? You know,
sounds good.
Because that's probably the next step. Once you've played, then how can you ensure the learning into the everyday life as a company, as a team, as a person? So
sounds great.
You're in it?
I'm in.
Very good. So we have the topic for tomorrow. So if you're interested to hear more about learning after playing, we are back again tomorrow. Thanks for this very playful conversation today, Thomas, and playful memories to our childhood.
And we hear each other tomorrow.
Yes, and everybody out there, don't